A pair of former A10 rivals play each other today as conference foes in the revamped American Athletic Conference. It's the Temple Owls against the Charlotte 49ers, and it's right here on WHIP. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into the Liacouras Center. Alongside Pat Dallahan, I'm Hayden Bandel. Temple's defense has been the key to their success this season, and it's picking up as of late, giving up 62 points per game on the season. But since conference play has started, they're only giving up that number just one game. Pat, what should we expect to see from Diane Richardson's defense today?
Yeah, this Charlotte offense is no joke. They're putting up 65 points a game. You mentioned that Temple coming into conference play was allowing just about 62 points per game, but this Charlotte offense is unrelenting. Granted, on the other side, Temple outscoring them by 4 points a game. It seems like today could be kind of a defensive rock fight with how both of these defenses have played all season long.
Yeah, and Temple's defense is also going to be honed in on Deja Lawrence. She is accountable for 18 points per game of those 65 for the Niners, and she's a top 5 scorer in the conference, Pat, with those 18 points. What's Temple going to have to do just to focus on her?
Yeah, we talked about it pregame. It's a simple task to talk about stopping someone, but it's a lot more difficult to actually do it, especially when she's leading the team or is at near the top in 3 points made. She's made 16 on the season. That is second only to J.C. Busick, who's made 22. But she gets to the line an incredible amount. She has attempted 107 foul shots on the year. The next closest person is Tracy Houston, who's only attempted 70. So she's attempted nearly 50% more of what Houston has. So she gets to the line an incredible amount. She's shooting 43% from the field on this season, probably closer to 50% on 2-point attempts. So they need to really bear down on her and force her out to the perimeter where she's a little bit more uncomfortable.
Yeah, and we do have starting lineups for today's game, as Temple is going to be running out with the same starting lineup that they've used basically the entire season, Pat. They have only used 4 different starting lineups this season. That is with Aaliyah Nelson, of course, leading the way. And Aaliyah Nelson is going to be out there with Demi Washington, Tiara East, Inez Piper, and Rain Tucker. And really, Aaliyah Nelson has picked it up. I mean, 6 consecutive games where she has scored in double figures, which we see from her with the Rock tonight.
Yeah, well, we know that she's a great scorer, but an aspect of her game that doesn't get enough love is the fact that she averages almost 5 assists a game.
Yeah.
She has the ball in her hands so much where those numbers kind of are a byproduct of her being the one running the offense. But that ability to pass is something that keeps defenses honest and keeps it on their toes because you can't double her. You can't force her to be the decision maker because she's comfortable making those decisions. So she just needs to set the table for this offense and that, when need be, get her own bucket.
Yeah, and that is part of that equal opportunity offense that Coach Richardson has instituted since she has came to Temple. And a part of that, of Aaliyah Nelson being so good at not just scoring the ball but playmaking, is because she has basically known her since she was in grade school. Mm-hmm. So the connection there is unheard of. And then for Charlotte, when we look at their starting lineup, they are rocking with Deja Lawrence, J.C. Busick, Olivia Porter, Tracy Houston, and Kiana Rember. Pat, do you have anyone in mind that, obviously we talked about Deja Lawrence, but who else should we look out for on this Niners team?
Tracy Houston, when we talked to Coach Consuegra on Friday, she raved about her ability to playmake from the post. And when you have someone like Houston that can pass from the post, what that does for a team's offense can't be put into words. The fact that someone's able to pass back to the basket, find cutters, get 2 feet in the paint, kick it out, find an open shooter. That is super invaluable to a team, and that opens up your options on offense in an incredible amount. And Coach Consuegra said it on Friday. She's one of the best passers she's ever seen, and by far the best post passer and post playmaker she's had the opportunity to coach. So I'm going to keep my eye on her and Deja Lawrence, obviously. We've raved about her the entire time.
Yeah, we have. And speaking of the coaches, obviously Coach Consuegra, she's kind of built up a program at Charlotte. She's taken them to the NCAA tournament only a few seasons ago in her 13th season with the program. And it's really a program that if Diane Richardson was to build it the way that she does, I think that's exactly the blueprint that she wants to follow. And the two have known each other for years at this point now. When we were talking with Coach Consuegra on Friday, she was talking about how she couldn't even remember how long that she's known Diane Richardson, who has obviously been in this business for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
But they would coach against each other. Obviously, when Diane Richardson was an assistant at George Washington in the A-10, when Charlotte was also in the A-10. So there is a lot of storylines that we will unravel as we kind of get out into this game. But they are still doing the starting lineups right now. And for Temple, I think one thing that they want to improve on is just the depth of scoring, Pat, because it's a team that hasn't got a lot of success. Obviously, you have the freshman Tristan Taylor, who I think has picked it up as of late
100%.
as well.
Yeah, and sometimes you get something from Enos Piper, Jaleesa Molina, another dependable scoring option as a freshman. Rain Tucker, 8 points a game. Demi Washington, 6 points a game. But yeah, I mean, Tiara East is second in scoring for this Temple squad. She's averaging just under 12 points a game, 11.9 to be exact. And she has taken a massive leap for this Temple team when they really needed her to, because Aaliyah Nelson's been handling a lot of the load on the offensive side.
Yeah, and we can't not mention also just the scoring from in the paint has been a struggle this season for the Owls. They're tied for their top 5 in the nation in terms of offensive rebounds per game. So meaning they're getting the ball down low, but they're also only averaging about 13 second chance points this season.
Yeah, that's just, second chance points to me, it's kind of a mark of basketball IQ and when to go up, when to put it on the floor. It seems like they're a little undisciplined when they catch the ball right under the cylinder. And so we'll see if they've worked on that and improved on that today.
Temple donning their gray alternate jerseys across as they win the opening tip-off at Reed. Temple across their chest. Charlotte in their Green Road uniforms. That reads Charlotte at the top of the chest as well. Inez Piper gives it over to Aaliyah Nelson. Her first shot is a 3, and it is cashed.
Need to keep an eye on her off the ball. Well, we all know what she can do with the ball in her hand. She's very effective at getting her shot off the ball and using screens just like that.
J.C. Busick gives it off to the top of the key. And now it's down low in to Rembert. Rembert over to the corner. Charlotte swinging around now. Good ball movement by the 49ers. Everyone has touched the ball this possession. They find a 3-ball in the corner, and it is good for Olivia Porter.
Disciplined passing there from Charlotte. An undisciplined defense, an unnecessary double team on the left block that let the far side corner wide open for a 3.
Porter transferred from Michigan State. This is her first season with Charlotte. Averaging 5 points per game. She started in every game, and there's a turnover. Deja Lawrence going to the other end. Hand lays it in over Tiara East.
A very tough finish there from Deja Lawrence as she was falling to the floor.
Demi Washington, mid-range pull-up right behind the free throw line is off the mark. And here come the 49ers. Very fast-paced tempo team early on. There's another 3 from Porter, and it is good.
And the other day, Coach Consuegra said they wanted to slow things down on offense against Temple, but the 49ers are out here running.
A sophomore who only averages, as I just mentioned, 5.4 points per game. She's already is at 6.
Yeah, she's already raised her average.
She's already raised it. We only played 2 minutes of basketball here at the Liacouras Center as Tiara East goes up and gets swatted by Tracy Houston, her 19th block of the season.
Yeah, and I know you've said that we're only 2 minutes into this game, but Temple has taken 2 wildly undisciplined shots already.
Yeah, they hit their first shot on the Aaliyah Nelson 3-ball as Tiara East is way off on that shot as the shot clock was winding down. And ever since Aaliyah Nelson hit that opening shot, Charlotte has gone on an 8-0 run over the last minute plus. Demi Washington guarding the ball handler for the 49ers in Porter. Porter gives it over to Rembert. Rembert into Lawrence. Lawrence, the top 5 leading scorer in the conference. Her shot is off the mark from the mid-range, but an offensive rebound going up with it. And no good off the hands of Tracy Houston. Here come the Owls. Nelson thought about a three, now steps back. Long range two is off the mark, and it's the 49ers coming up with it. 8.
Even though we know that she's a really good shot maker, Aaliyah Nelson, an undisciplined step back three there. Long two, I should say.
Yeah, it looks like Nelson really just wants to get some points on the board for the Owls, as if we have a foul called and a player down for the Niners. The entire team huddled around what appears to be Olivia Porter.
Yeah, there was a long rebound and some bodies collided there at the top of the key. It's good to see.
It's actually Tracy Houston.
Good to see Tracy Houston is up. That's a big piece for Coach Consuegra and that 49er offense. It's weird to say 49er in basketball.
It really is.
It feels wrong.
So 8-3, Charlotte still up. Temple over its last 4 from the field as they get it into Lawrence. Lawrence now being double teamed. Temple steps back away from it. And now it's Rembert gets it inside, and it's taken away by the Owls. Here comes Piper. Piper will slow things down, gets it over to Nelson. Charlotte in a 2-3 zone. Coming for a set of screen was Tucker, and then a foul called on the ball. It's on Lawrence.
And I know that Diane Richardson really trusts Aaliyah Nelson as a ball handler, but sometimes she takes too many dribbles in a possession. The more the ball moves, the harder it is for a team to guard.
Nelson calling out a play for the Owls now. Her pass out of the reach of East, and when she went to go get it, her feet were out of bounds.
And I didn't hate that pass at all. I thought there was a really, really good look. They were running an action, and it just was a little bit out of her reach.
Porter bringing the ball up for Charlotte. Hands it off over to Rembert. Rembert being guarded by Piper. Gets it in right at the free throw line where Houston is staying. Now backing down on Rain Tucker. Post move fading away off the mark, and it's taken away by Piper. Inez Piper has really picked it up this season, especially on the defensive end from her first season on North Broad to now. As Nelson gives it over to East on the far side. Swing it over to Nelson. Down low for Washington. Demi Washington goes up with it, and the ball just went over the hoop as she got blocked. And it will stay with the Owls as we have our first substitution for Charlotte.
Yep. Demi Washington has taken 2 shots today, and both of them wildly undisciplined. The first was a step-back mid-range at the top of the key that missed by a pretty wide margin, and that layup right there that just shot over the backboard.
And there's a great pass. Nelson from under the basket for the inbounds play finds Inez Piper for 2. 8-5 Temple, 5.5 to go in the first quarter. And a whistle is blown as Tucker gets called for a foul down low on the ball.
A really pretty inbounds play drawn up there on the baseline out of bounds by Diane Richardson. Using an off-ball screen to find Inez Piper wide open below the cylinder.
Comes Charlotte. This is Amani Smith off the bench, as we mentioned the substitutions earlier. And there's a travel call on Olivia Porter.
A little bit of happy feet there from Olivia Porter.
Yeah, once she got the ball, she was kind of hesitant as to what she wanted to do and ended up taking too many steps. Nelson calling out a play for the Owls. Rain Tucker gets it over to Demi Washington. Washington to the near side where Piper is trying to drive baseline, but she's got nothing there for now. Gets double teamed, finds an open Tiara East, and her 3-ball is good, and we are all tied up at 8.
Great ball movement there by Temple, and that is how you run an offense. You don't take 15 dribbles. You make 5 passes, and that's what they did.
There's a mid-range jumper. That is good from Amani Smith, or excuse me, that is Tracy Houston, second leading scorer for Charlotte. There's Piper with a pass into East, and that's a great pass. Tiara East cutting inside. Piper with the pass, and East is fouled, so she'll go to the line for 2.
Yep, she didn't give her that step. She didn't give her a place to take off from that is a blocking foul. So East will head to the line to shoot two, as Hayden said.
And so 10-8, Charlotte leads. 4:35 left in the first quarter. We'll take a break. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on WHIP. Welcome back into WHIP. Temple trailing Charlotte 10-8, but basketball really is a game of runs. Temple had the first shot made from Alila Nelson, and then Charlotte went on an 8-0 run. But now Temple has an opportunity to tie it at the line. Tiara East, the junior out of Louisville, misses on the first attempt. 10-8, as we mentioned, East on the season from the charity stripe, shooting it at 72% as she hits the second. Temple coming into a full court trap right out of the timeout. Charlotte able to beat it. Now here comes Houston. Houston in the paint, and there's a wide open three ball off the mark. That was from Nia Young. As the ball goes out of bounds, and it will stay with Charlotte. Nia Young.
And I really love Diane Richardson going to a trap there. Just throws a new look at Charlotte as they bring it up court, and it makes them uncomfortable, and it keeps them honest.
Yeah, we'll see if Temple decides to go back to it as well, because Charlotte did get a wide open shot out of it, just unable to convert once they got past half court. Houston backing down, tough shot as she was double teamed, and an offensive rebound for the Niners, but the shot goes over the hoop. So Temple will retain possession.
That's two of those today. We've had two layups go over the hoop.
That's definitely something that you don't see every game.
Yeah, you normally don't see one.
Yeah, and it's not like that. That one wasn't even blocked by Temple. It was just over the hoop.
It was just too much. Happens. That's why we're up here.
Yeah, I know. Inez Piper at the top of the key, being guarded by Busick. Piper trying to do too much, nearly lost it, and now she did lose it, taken away by Smith. Amani Smith gets it up to Deja Lawrence. Lawrence finds Houston down low, but a foul called, an offensive one on Tracy Houston as she tried to barrel in to Inez Piper, and Charlotte going to have a substitution as Fatu Diakite will check in for Tracy Houston. So Coach Consuegra talking to Houston before she can even get to the bench about that offensive foul. Aaliyah Nelson gets it over to Terriana Gary. Terriana Gary driving in, kicks it over to Piper. Long two. I think her foot was on the line, but they call it a three. So a three-pointer for Inez Piper. I don't know. I thought I saw her foot on the line.
There was not a lot of space. There was not a lot of space between her toe and the line. So I'm sure they'll look at it at the next break.
Temple now up with the shot, 12-10. We'll see when we go to a break if they will change that to a 2 or keep it at 3.
Either way, the Owls will be ahead.
Yes, Temple's still up regardless of what that shot was from Piper. Same spot for Terriana Gary that Piper made it. It's no good. Offensive rebound, East. She is fouled, and she will go to the line again.
I know that she got fouled and that she's heading to the line, but there was no reason to fall back and to move further away from the hoop when she had a wide-open layup. She took a dribble as opposed to catching and going up strong. You didn't need to put it on the floor in that scenario.
Yeah, she definitely made it harder for herself, but does get to the line regardless. And we see those offensive rebounds. That's what they do, but it's just capitalizing after the fact as Jalissa Molina will check in for the first time today. The freshman out of the Netherlands as TR East hits the first one, 13-10 Temple. Molina has played in all but one game this season for the Owls as East connects on both of them. 14-10. Temple still in their full court press, but Charlotte beats it easily. Porter being guarded by Molina and just curved right through her, and a beautiful pass inside to Diakite. 4-2.
Patient pass from Olivia Porter. Really patient pass down to Diakite.
Charlotte really read that zone well. They got right out of it. Even Temple got a double team right at half court and just nothing working. So we'll see if Diane Richardson wants to stick with it or not. 2 minutes left to go. Temple up 14-12 here in the first quarter. Nelson, tough fadeaway. Offensive rebound, Molina. She gets it back over to Nelson. Nelson has it stripped from her. Taken away by Charlotte on the run, but Temple gets her right back. Here comes Tiara East. East driving in. Right-hand layup, no good. Molina offensive rebound, no. And East grabbed it, but she might have been out of bounds, and she was. Tiara East missed the layup. She came coming in from out of bounds for a second offensive rebound, but gets called for being out of bounds.
She did not reestablish herself in bounds as a player, so it's ruled as Charlotte ball, but she had a wide-open layup, Tiara East, and she was just unable to convert after a really good screen down low by Jalissa Molina to free her up some space, and she just wasn't able to convert.
Jewel Watkins off the bench to transfer from Coppin State, where she spent the last 2 seasons. And for the first time today, here comes Porter. Porter at the top of the key, gets it over to Rembert. Rembert driving in on the left side, and she is fouled, and she'll go to the line with an opportunity to tie it with 1:20 left. Temple up 14-12.
And you mentioned the transfers on this team. Charlotte has transfers from multiple Power 5 schools. Kiana Rembert transferred in from Illinois. Olivia Porter transferred in from Michigan State. And Tamia Davis transferred in from Kansas.
Yeah, and don't forget Tracy Houston either, where she spent 2 seasons at Pitt.
Yeah.
This is now her second season in Charlotte, as Rembert is at the line, one of those transfers that we talked about. And that's really the thing that we see with the transfer portal nowadays as well, as Rembert goes 1 for 2 from the line. Jalissa Molina on the other end. Floater shot is good. 16-13 Temple, about a minute and change left to go in the first quarter. Houston Porter now. And Porter traveled, and so Temple will take over.
That's 3 travels on Charlotte in the first quarter alone. They're not remembering the spot or their pivot foot that they're supposed to be when they have the ball, and that's pretty fundamental. But it can happen when they're thinking about so many other things on offense.
Tristan Taylor now out there on offense for Temple. She gets a screen from Denise Solis, but doesn't do anything with it. Taylor still at the top of the key. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Taylor driving in, finds Molina, and her shot under the basket is good.
Tristan Taylor, a beautiful pass inside of Molina. A little laser there. She put some mustard on that.
About a second difference, if that, from the shot clock to game clock. 20 seconds left. Temple up 18-13 as we approach the end of the first quarter here at the Liacouras Center. Tariana Gary just applying some pressure as Porter just trying to milk the clock a little bit. Down to 4, down to 3, down to 2. Do they know? I don't think they got the shot off, and they didn't. So a shot clock violation, and Temple will take over with 1.4 seconds remaining in the first.
Each team now has a shot clock violation.
Rolling in for Taylor. Taylor, I don't think she got the shot off.
Not.
So at the end of one here at the Liacouras Center, it's Temple up on first play Charlotte, 18-13. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for second quarter action here on WHIP. Welcome back into the Liacouras Center. Second quarter underway now as Temple up 18-13 over Charlotte. 49ers come in with a 12-6 record, 5-1 in the conference, which is good enough to be in a first-place tie. As there's a good pass inside from Olivia Porter, and finishing with 2 is Houston.
We talked about Tracy Houston in the pregame, and she is greatly impressed me thus far.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times today already where Charlotte has had some really nice inside passes for some easy layups. This Terriana Gary trying a tougher layup, but she does get fouled on it, so she'll go to the line for 2.
If there's one thing this Temple team does really well, it's getting to the foul line. They shoot 10 foul shots per game, but it feels like they've already shot 8 in this game. It feels like they've gotten to the line an incredible amount.
Yeah, and excuse me, that was actually Tristan Taylor who got fouled. She hit
shot
the first
4,
one.
My apologies.
Yeah.
But this will be 5 and 6.
Yep, free throws 5 and 6 for Temple. Tiara East had the first 4 of those as Taylor hits on a pair. 20-15 Temple. They're still somewhat pressing full court, and it forces a turnover as Diane Richardson is running out of the way from the basketball. Diane Richardson having some fun on the sidelines.
Coach Richardson has a ton of energy on the sidelines. She's always just dancing or stomping up and down.
She is awesome to watch. She is a really good person too. Just getting to know her, covering her first 2 seasons now here at Temple. Demi Washington driving into a double team, then she gets fouled. So she'll go to the line for 2. So
Temple getting to the line again.
Yep, free throws started to pick up for the Owls. And they're also doing a good job of not fouling themselves. Charlotte only has 2 free throws on the day. Temple about to shoot free throws numbers 7 and 8. As Demi Washington, the transfer from Vanderbilt, came over for her graduate season with Diane Richardson, where she spent 3 seasons at Vandy, misses on the first free throw. So now getting to the line, just want to convert as well. Washington has played in every game this season for the Cherry and White. And second free throw also off the mark. Hit like every part of the rim.
Yeah.
But just didn't find that hole. Here comes Charlotte. There's a 3 in the corner. It's off the mark. It was J.C. Busick on the shot. Offensive rebound, though, for the Niners. It's Busick going up with it again. No good. And then a foul called on Temple.
It's possible Coach Kinswagra hit us with a little misdirection with what she was telling us on Friday, because this Charlotte team, I've been really impressed with how quickly they're getting up court and setting up their offense.
Yeah, maybe something has to do with it, as there's a bucket down low for Rembert, 2017 Temple. But, yeah, maybe it's because of that full court press that Temple has implemented, that Charlotte's just forcing everything to go really quick.
Mm-hmm. A lot more north-south, not east-west.
Exactly. Demi Washington down the baseline. Her jumper is pure. 22-17 Temple. Each played about a minute plus, approaching the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. This is Amani Smith. Amani Smith, her jumper is good. She answers the call. 22-19. As Nelson and East are running back in to check in at the scores table. It's Molina, Washington, Currents, Taylor, and Solis, the 5 on the floor for the Owls. There is a a floater from Tristan Taylor. No good, but a steal from Taylor, and she gets fouled. Wow, that is a great play by Tristan Taylor. After she missed a jumper, Charlotte gets the rebound. They're trying to kick it out to their guard. But then Taylor was right there to snatch it away, and she draws a foul. Did it all by herself.
That was almost Jose Alvarado-esque. She kind of hid behind the Charlotte player. I forgot her name. But she hid behind her, and she almost didn't know she was there. And it's a really smart play in that it just gifted Temple 2 more points.
Yeah. So she'll go to the charity line where she's shooting 77% from the season. Her first one is good. Temple has some substitutions. East, Nelson, and Piper all check in.
Yeah, that's 77%, 6 points above the team's average of 71.
And unable to hit on the first one, and the ball goes out of bounds, and it will stay with Temple. Jalissa Molina was fighting for that offensive rebound, And it's not going to come down as an offensive rebound, but it basically is one, as she forced the Charlotte team to go it out of bounds.
De facto offensive rebound.
Exactly. Triggerman is Taylor. She gets it to the top of the key where East is. Tiara East driving in, trying to do something here. Gets it over to Piper. Piper being guarded by Rembert. Just throws up a shot. No good. Jalissa Molina. And I think there was a foul called on Molina over the back.
Yes.
Trying too much for that second chance opportunity.
An over-the-back foul, if I was a coach, I would never really be mad because it means that my player's rebounding and hustling.
And there's a steal. Taylor tries to drop a dime inside to East, but she traveled.
She knew it, too. She has a smile on her face. She knew it. That's a really tough play, though, to catch it in that situation, especially with all those defenders around her and how fast she was moving. It's tough to put a dribble on the floor there. And you either have to stop on a dime or take that travel.
Temple kind of still in their full court press, but they have dropped down a little bit. Two women up front. And now here comes the double team, Nelson and East, but Charlotte quickly gets it inside, and Rembert is there, or excuse me, Diakite, and count the basket and the foul for Fatu Diakite, the freshman averaging just 2.5 points per game this season.
Really pretty move down low by Fatu Diakite, and that pass came in a little late. She was wide open for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, because Temple had the double team, and she was wide open for it, but they got it to her late, but I guess it worked out better because now they have a shot at a three-point opportunity. But it is no good. Offensive rebound, though, for Charlotte. The ball goes out of bounds, and it's going to stay with the Niners.
And Charlotte was very concerned about offensive rebounding for Temple coming into this game, but Charlotte winning the offensive rebound battle 7-6 right now.
It's Temple up in the scores column, 23-21, under 7 to go in the second quarter. Olivia Porter being guarded by Tristan Taylor, who's a pass just trying to take that ball away. And there is a steal from Temple. Solis ends up with it, quickly gets it over to Nelson. Nelson to Piper East. Wide open three, off the mark. And the ball trickles out of bounds again off of the face of J.C. Busick, and it will stay with the Owls.
It doesn't feel great.
No. You had that happen to you before?
A couple times.
Couple.
Yeah. Hurts the nose.
It definitely does hurt the nose.
Yeah.
No, that's the worst feeling.
Yeah, worst feeling of all time.
Get hit in the nose. Nelson for Piper. Temple, some good ball movement, but Denise Solis gets called for a foul away from the ball.
Got tangled up in a screen, moving little too much happy feet off the ball as she was setting a screen. Can't do that.
Yeah, that's going to trigger Demi Washington to head to the scores table, so she will check in at the next dead ball. And this is the next dead ball as a travel is called.
That's the fourth travel of the half. It's a lot. I'm sure Coach Consuegra is not pleased about that whatsoever.
Yeah, they'll definitely be having some dribbling practices this upcoming week.
Just unforced errors on the side of the 49ers.
Yeah, and it's keeping Temple in this game for a team that's 3-2 in conference play. Charlotte 5-1, as we mentioned, which is tied for first in the American, so they can take sole advantage of first place today with a victory to improve to 6-1. As Piper gets called for a foul, as Charlotte was just trying to bring the ball up, and Charlotte is actually in the bonus, so that will put Charlotte on the line. It's Amani Smith, the junior out of Georgia, shooting 73% from the line this season, her first trip there today.
Yeah, they've only shot 3 foul shots on the afternoon.
First one is good for Smith.
The band, you can kind of hear everything they're saying.
Yeah, you can hear everything that they say. You typically can, too.
It's kind of an indictment on the students here not showing up.
Yeah. Tiara East, not sure what that jump shot was. It was way off the mark. I guess she was trying to draw a foul. Olivia Porter gets the rebound, goes all the way to the coast, but misses it with the right hand. Now Nelson trying to do the same thing. Nelson carried the ball, yep. She doesn't agree with it, but she definitely carried.
Yeah. I mean,
as she was trying to curve away from the defenders.
Yeah, she went for a little hesitation move. We'll look at it again on the video board, and that hand went under the ball, and that is a textbook carry.
Yeah.
I know they're a little bit more lenient with that nowadays, but
not that time there, as Nelson gets cold for it. Charlotte in a tie game, 23-23.
Ooh.
As there's a foul called as Porter hit the deck. Tristan Taylor getting called for the foul as Tariana Gary, T-Mac, will check in for Taylor.
Where's that nickname come from? Because there's no Mac.
You know, I have no idea. I think the girls just started calling her T-Mac, and it's just stuck with her ever since.
Okay.
But it is definitely a fascinating nickname. Because you would think her last name is like
So when I did the first game of the season with Liam Gianelli, he called her T-Mac, and part of me was like, is my roster wrong? I thought it should be Mick Gary, but it's not.
So the 2 free throws from Amani Smith are good, so Charlotte takes a 2-point advantage. Nelson kind of got a double team right at half court line, but just drops it down in low, and she gets the ball back. Nelson drawing up a play for the Owls. Stemi Washington getting it to Nelson on the far wing. For T-Mac, top of the key. Good ball moving by Temple. Gets Nelson an open 3, but it's no good. Tiara East offensive rebound. Slows things down, gets it over to Piper. Piper for Washington. She pulls the trigger, and it's no good. Charlotte with Olivia Porter being guarded by Tariana Gary. She gets it over to Diakite. Diakite for Nia Young. There's a long-range 3. Rattles in and out off the hands of Amani Smith. Here comes Temple. Tariana Gary driving in. Good pass down low for Piper, and she lays it in.
Really good hop step there. Little jump stop by Enos Piper. Just put her back right into the chest of the defender and sealed her off so that she would have to foul.
Yeah, it was a good job there by Piper, who was all the way on the left side, went all the way to the right. Has the 3 ball from Diakite, no good, but an offensive rebound for the Niners. And an offensive foul called, even though Rembert hit the floor, she's the one that's going to get called for the foul, and that will send us to another break. All knotted up here in the second quarter, less than 4 minutes to go. It's 25-25. Welcome back into the Liacouras Center, 25-25, all knotted up here against Charlotte. Temple today from the field, shooting it at 33%. Charlotte at 40%, but it's still a tie game as Temple turns the ball over. Temple just won for its last 8, but Charlotte hasn't hit a field goal in the last 3+ minutes. Working down low, and the shot no good from Nia Young. Tiara East driving in on down the baseline, kicks it over to Demi Washington, and a good pass there from Tiara East as Washington finishes the floater.
Yeah, and Temple's starting to use the dribble to create on offense, the dribble drive, as opposed to stationary dribbling, which Aaliyah Nelson can be guilty of at points.
This is Smith, Amani Smith at the top of the key. It's it over to Diakite, pass inside for Busick, and now fighting for the ball is her and Washington, and Washington going to get called for a foul. She was trying to force a jump ball, but she was kind of trying to do it from behind Smith.
And you mentioned that it's been 3 minutes since Charlotte has scored a field goal. And on offense, they have tons of unforced errors, offensive fouls over the backs, 4 travels, turnovers. It's been a rough game for Coach Consuegra and the 49er offense.
Yeah, definitely not up to par of what they consistently do, as Busick's first shot from the line is good. The second one off the mark, Demi Washington comes away with the rebound. East over to Washington. Kicks it over to Currents. Kendall Currents drops it low for Rain Tucker. Tucker looking for Currents. Currents pulls a 3, and it's off the front of the rim. Long rebound, and Tiara East went flying in for it.
She did.
She's going to get called for a foul as she flew to the floor. And that's going to put Charlotte to the free throw line. So part of that, Charlotte being only down by 1 and not scoring a field goal in the last 4.5 minutes, is because they're getting to the charity line.
Yep, they are. And they're not knocking down their foul shots whatsoever. Charlotte as a team,
they're shooting 7 of 10 now.
Yep, they're shooting 74% from the line as a team, which isn't too bad, as we have a towel boy hyping up the crowd. Or attempting to hype up the crowd.
So the free throws are split 1-1. So we're tied up again. 2:15 left to go in the second quarter. Nelson gets it over to Taylor. Tristan Taylor is fouled from long range, and Coach Consuegra has given the ref a piece of her opinion. It was a late foul called on Smith, but it was because right at the end, it was Busick called for the foul. But Taylor kind of had her hand out after she took the shot, and then that's when Busick went over and just kind of grabbed it away.
Yep, you have to keep in mind that it's a shooter. You can't foul a three-point shooter because she's going to punish you at the line.
Yep, Taylor.
Poor foul, just a poor, ill-timed foul.
Taylor 3 of 4 today from the charity stripe, and she makes both the first 2. She will await for the second one. 5 of 6 now from the line, and she hits all 3. Good job there by the freshman to give Temple a 3-point lead, as Piper will check in for Tucker.
But you could see Coach Consuegra not only mad at the ref, but she was really mad at Busick.
Yeah.
That's an undisciplined foul.
Been a lot of undisciplined plays today for the Niners.
For both teams.
Yeah. There's a foul down low, and it's an offensive foul that will go the way of the Owls. Kendall Currents put her body on the line. The transfer out of Northeastern, graduate student who missed all of last season with a torn ACL.
And that's 7 turnovers. 7 turnovers. And they have, my apologies, 13 turnovers for Charlotte and 7 in this quarter alone.
Yeah, They have turned the ball over a lot in this first half alone. And as Washington gets called for an offensive foul. 30-27, Temple up with 1:35 left to go in the first half. Young gets it over to Smith. Smith for Rembert at the top of the key. Now back to Smith. Smith almost lost control of the ball. Nelson almost came up with it. There's a pass down low for Rembert, and a whistle blows. And it's a jump ball that will go Temple's way.
And that was a really, really good play by...
It was Demi Washington who did it. She stepped in
Demi
front.
Washington, yeah. Really, really good play by Demi Washington to get her hands on the ball and to not foul.
Demi Washington now driving into the paint. She gets blocked, and so Charlotte ends up with it. Under a minute to go in the second quarter. Driving baseline and now kicking it out for Porter. Porter gets it to the top of the key. Porter swing it to the corner where Smith is standing. Wide open, shot no good, and the rebound trickles out of bounds.
Yeah, their last field goal, it's been 7 minutes since they've converted a field goal, the Charlotte 49ers. So it's been a rough one for their offense.
Yeah, to say the least. No field goals in the last
7 minutes-ish.
7, yeah. Kendall Currents in the corner for Temple, who's going to hold for one. Nelson, shot is good from straightaway three-point range, and Temple has its biggest lead of the night.
Yeah, Aaliyah Nelson, you can't leave her that open. You can't let her get her shot off like that.
33-27, 7 seconds left to go in the half. Down to 6, down to 4. Driving in is Smith. Her shot no good, and the rebound is not there, as at the end of the first half, Temple up on Charlotte, 33-27. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back for second half action right here on WHIP. Hello, everyone. Welcome back into the Liacouras Center. Hayden Bandel alongside Pat Dallahan. Temple up, took their largest lead of the game right at the end of the second quarter, 33-27. That 6-point lead is the largest lead that Temple has had today. And when we look at the first half stats, I mean, Charlotte was just really struggling to shoot the ball from both inside and outside of the three-point line. Shot 9 for 25, which is 36%. Temple, on the other hand, was not doing too well either, but they were making the shots that they took. 10 for 29, which is 34.5%. But the big disparity was the charity stripe, where Temple went 9 of 13, and Charlotte was 7 of 11 as first half over. And now we are into the second half. The 5 on the floor for both sides are the same starting lineups. For Temple, it's Nelson, Washington, Piper, Tucker, and East. As Piper gets a block on Rembert. And now it looks like we're going to have a jump ball called, and it's between Tucker and can't see who that is now that they're down on the floor. Looks like, okay, so it was Tracy Houston.
Yep. And you were talking about how this Charlotte offense has really struggled, and it's been a byproduct of the fact of how Temple is speeding up this game and not allowing Charlotte to play at their pace. Coach Kara Consuegra was adamant that they needed to slow the game down and play within their comfort zone, and Temple is simply not allowing them to do so.
Yeah, and the turnover margin is also reeling in Temple's favor. Temple has forced Charlotte to turn the ball over 14 times. Meanwhile, they've done it 6 less times, so 8 turnovers for Temple, but the 14 turnovers for Charlotte, and 4 of those have been just off of travel. Nelson inbounds to Washington. Washington nearly lost it. East has to be careful. She has to go get the ball right near half court, able to save it. Here's a Leah Nelson, wide open 3, no good. Leah Nelson, who cracked 15,000 points.
Yes, she did.
Today. She's the 10th player in program history to get that. Obviously, a majority of those points. Whereas when she was with Diane Richardson at Towson, of course, played 1 season at Cincinnati as well, where she wasn't really just getting any playing time. Tiara East will go to the free throw line for the 3rd time today. East 3 of 4 from the charity stripe, and now make it 3 of 5.
Yep, an excellent accomplishment for an excellent player and what seems to be an excellent teammate.
Yeah,
in Aaliyah Nelson.
She's just fun to be around. She brings energy everywhere she goes.
Yeah, she was running out onto the court. You could see her mouthing the lyrics to the song that was playing.
So Temple still in this press that we saw them come out after a timeout in the first quarter. They're still doing it, but it doesn't do anything there. They did get 1 turnover off of it, and that was when they threw the ball to Diane Richardson, who was running out of the way. So a foul called on Temple. That will put Charlotte to the line. Olivia Porter, the sophomore, shooting it at 67% from the free throw line this season. She's 1 of 2 today.
And Olivia Porter, who played her senior year of high school basketball in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah. A lot of girls from North Carolina. She's from Chapel Hill.
May have heard of that. May have heard of that town.
Sounds a little familiar, especially in basketball, too, right? They got something there?
I don't know. It's this guy that played there named Michael Jordan.
Michael.
Yeah, decent. He's okay.
Aaliyah Nelson at the top of the key, gets it over to Piper. Gets it back to Nelson, who quickly throws it inside to Tucker. Tucker, post move doesn't work, but offensive rebound for the Owls. Just dumps it right back inside to Tucker. Second time is the charm.
Patient offense, less dribbles and more passing, and that's what we saw in that possession there from the Owls.
36-28 Temple, 8-10 left to play in the third quarter. Just minutes into this opening second half.
Ooh.
There's Diakite, and she traveled. She knew it.
She didn't travel on the spin. She traveled on the step through.
Yeah, it looked like she lost her footing a bit.
Yep, she really talented post scorer is Fatu Diakite. She's really impressed me down low today.
So Nelson bringing the ball up. Has to get it over to Tucker because Charlotte applying some pressure full court. Now Nelson gets double teamed, gets it over to Piper, and just some great ball movement by the Owls.
Pretty.
That finds Rain Tucker down low.
Best way to beat a press isn't to dribble, it's to pass.
Yep, timeout Charlotte. Temple has opened up a 10-point lead here in the third quarter. With 7:40 left to go. Pat, what have you just seen from these opening minutes that forces Coach Consuegra to call a timeout?
Temple is dominating the pace of play, and that was definitely something they spoke about in the locker room, but they haven't adjusted at all, so she's going to take a second to remind them of how they play and just to take a deep breath.
10-point lead, the biggest of the afternoon thus far for the Owls. We'll be right back here on WHIP. $7:40 left to go here in the third quarter. Same starting five out on the floor for the Owls and for Charlotte as well, as Coach Consuegra just trying to put some knowledge into her team as they are quickly in a 10-point deficit, the largest that they've faced today.
Yeah, this Temple offense came out with new life and new discipline in this second half, and it's led to an explosion so far here in the third quarter.
Charlotte tries to drop the ball down low, but Rembrandt unable to catch it cleanly, and the Owls end up with it. Not what you want to see out of a timeout if you're Charlotte. Piper swings it all the way to the other side of the court. Taylor gets it over to East, back to Piper. Piper, floater is good. Inez Piper.
Everything falling for the Owls so far.
Everything falling for the Owls. Inez Piper now 4 of 5 from the field as well. She has shot it consistently today. As there's a missed shot from Rembert, Piper grabs the board, and here comes Nelson. Nelson gets it over to Washington. Temple swinging it around now. East had the defender fall to the floor, but she ended up kicking it and yelling at the official, Estasia Lawrence. Not sure what, because it clearly went off her foot. And when East went to go get it from the back court, she was yelling at the official.
Saying it was off of her foot. It hit her foot.
Piper misses on a 3. Here comes Charlotte, down by 12. Got to get something going soon. Here's Deja Lawrence, top 5 scorer in the American. Gets it over to Rembert. Rembert is fouled by Piper, who slapped her on her right hand.
Yeah, and that was an interesting sequence because I think she was saying that it may have hit her foot after it had hit Lawrence's foot, which would be really interesting. But yeah, I mean, that was a really patient drive there by Rembert, and it forced Temple to take an undisciplined foul and a swipe across the arm. They'll call that every single time.
Rembert hits on the free throw. Charlotte still has not had a field goal pad in like over 10 minutes.
They have not. Their last field goal was at the 7:02 mark of the second quarter. So it's been a long time since they scored.
Now 6:16 here in the third. 40-30 Temple up. Aaliyah Nelson drops it down low. Up top for Demi Washington. Piper back to Nelson, and there's a foul away from the ball. Demi Washington fell to the floor.
Demi Washington just got trucked over there.
Tracy Houston checking in now for Busick.
I know you're taught to fight through the screen, but I don't know if you're taught to barrel into whoever is screening you.
Tiara East gets a screen from Rain Tucker. She just goes to the right side, now trying to look for a teammate, but right before she traveled.
Yeah, lots of travels for each team today. Feels like they're almost forgetting their fundamentals.
Yeah. It's been a lot of just harming yourself from both sides today, but I guess Temple has done a better job of not hurting themselves thus far.
Blocking foul was called there.
There's a foul.
Yeah, but each team, it feels like there's a lot of self-inflicted wounds on the offensive side. They're being impatient. A lot of turnovers, offensive fouls. And Charlotte wonders why they're down 10. Well, it's because you have 17 turnovers in 3 quarters of play.
Jumper off the mark from Deja Lawrence, and it's Piper who ends up with the rebound. Comes Aaliyah Nelson. Nelson on the left side gets denied. Trying to go inside. Piper somehow ended up with the basketball, and she lays it in 4-2.
Just ripped it away. Just ripped it away from Rembert right out of her hands.
Houston kicks it over to the corner. Porter wide open, in and out. Charlotte just struggling from shooting beyond the arc today. They're now 2 of 9. Nelson, here's a 3 from the Owls. It's Piper again. No good. Rebound on the floor. Piper has it taken away from her. Both girls were on the floor, Piper and Porter, and it was Porter who ended up with
good
it.
pass.
And then great transition offense for the Niners as Rembert finishes in the paint.
It's a really, really pretty pass from Deja Lawrence. My apologies, from Smith.
42-32, 4.5 left to go here in the third quarter. Nelson, step back, jumper, no good, but she gets fouled, had nowhere to land. So Aaliyah Nelson will go to the charity stripe today. Nelson has not gone to the charity stripe today, and that is going to send us to another break. It's Temple up 42-32, 4:24 left to go here in the third quarter. 42-32 Temple up, and their defense has really stood out today, especially Pat against Deja Lawrence. Talked about her in the pregame show, averaging 18 points per game. Today, Pat, 2 points and no assists. She has been a non-factor today.
Yeah, she's only shot the ball
She's 1 for 3 from the field.
3 times. That is uncharacteristic of her. She usually attempts close to, on the season she's attempted 251.
Leah Nelson hits both free throws out of the timeout.
But she normally attempts close to 14 shots a game. She's only attempted 3 here, and we are almost 75% through this game.
And the full court press works for Temple there. Jalissa Molina ends up with a steal and a wide open basket. Temple now up 14, and things are really starting to unravel here for the Niners. Driving in is Lawrence. Lawrence gets it now up top, and a foul is called on Temple. Tristan Taylor. Taylor gets called for her second foul.
Pretty easy call there.
No argument. She helped her up from the floor, too.
Yep. Didn't give her a place to land after she jumped up and caught the pass.
Here is Lawrence, and there is a foul again. This time, it was Houston falling to the floor, and the foul is on Demi Washington. It's the 3rd foul for Washington, and it's going to send Tracy Houston to the line as they're in the bonus again. Tiara East going to come check in now for Washington. Temple starting to get in some foul trouble. Her and Washington and Tucker each have 3 fouls. And the free throw is good.
17 fouls on the afternoon for the Owls so far. 5 in this quarter alone.
Tracy Houston's second free throw is up and good for Houston. So 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. Cuts the lead to 12. Taylor driving in. Now she'll take it back out, had nowhere to go. Sariana Gary gets double teamed. Passes it down low and inside for Molina again, who's able to finish.
Really great vision there from Rain Tucker to find a cutting Jalissa Molina.
Pass goes over for Charlotte. Drops it down low for Houston. Houston fading away over Rain Tucker. And that's just a really good shot there from Tracy Houston. Now 3 of 7 from the field. Here's Tristan Taylor. Inside for Molina again, and she traveled. So another traveling violation called on Temple, as Charlotte's going to come in with some substitutions. It's Busick and Imani Smith coming in for the Niners.
Yep, second turnover of the quarter for the Owls. 10th on the game on the other side for the Charlotte 49ers. 18 turnovers on the afternoon, 4 in this quarter alone.
Diane Richardson will respond with those substitutions. She'll come in with Inez Piper, who spells out Molina. Smith for Houston. Houston tried to get it down low, but Rember was already falling to the floor. Piper ends up with it, but Temple turns her right back over. Pass down inside. Really good pass there from Deja Lawrence. That leads to a foul. So Piper gets called for the foul.
And a really patient play by Imani Smith to up fake and draw the contact on Enos Piper and went up and got fouled. She wasn't able to convert, but still a really good play to get to the line.
Imani Smith, first free throw, no good. Junior shooting it at 73% on the season coming into the game. And she misses on a pair. Piper fights for the rebound, taps it to herself. Puts it over to East at half court. Tiara East. To the near side where Tristan Taylor stands. Tristan Taylor, a mismatch here She's being guarded by the lengthy Houston. Gets it over to Currents. Currents to East at the top of the key with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Taylor with 7. Now makes a move, drives in, and she is fouled.
Again, patient offense, but that wasn't bad defense by any means by the Charlotte 49ers. They forced Temple all the way down towards the end of the shot clock. So it was impressive defense and almost a bailout from the officials there for bad offense by the Owls.
It's good to see Temple's offense still flowing, even with Aaliyah Nelson on the bench, their leading scorer. Tristan Taylor hits on the first one. Taylor's second one is good as well. So back to a 14-point lead where we've kind of been sitting at over the last few minutes or so. 50-36, 2:15 left to play. Here is Smith. Smith. Charlotte gets it down low for Houston. Spin move, driving to the basket. She is fouled by Denise Solis.
And a great take there by Houston, who we know is a very talented player in the post as a passer, but as a scorer, she's really showcased some of her abilities down low with the footwork.
Jalissa Molina going to check back into the game for Inez Piper. It's Tracy Houston goes to the free throw line and makes the first one. Houston now 3 of 3 from the free throw line today. She's got 8 points to lead now 9 points to lead the Niners. And Houston now in double figures.
The only player in double figures for this 49er squad this afternoon.
She's the only player in double figures in the game, which shows you. Inez Piper has 11.
Technically in the game.
Piper's on the bench now.
Yep.
Only player on the floor.
Yeah.
As Tiara East trying to get there. Her jumper is good. So that's now 9 points on the afternoon for Tiara East. Here's Busick. Drops it down low for Houston, and she fell to the floor. No foul called, out of bounds, and it's off of Houston, and the Owls will take over.
Yeah, and Houston was adamant that it was off of Temple, but Karakin Swegra did not agree with her, so she didn't decide to argue it with the officials.
1:25 left to go. East gets a screen to her left side from Solis. She uses it. Now gets it down low for Solis. Solis, no good. Rebound is picked up by the Niners.
And Houston was giving her the entire right side to use, and she decided to go towards her left. An interesting decision there from Denise Solis, the Connecticut native Denise Solis.
As is my broadcast partner.
Yeah. Yep. She went to Windsor High School. It's about 15 minutes from my house.
Is it?
Yeah.
You ever play them in anything?
No. They're public school. I went to Avon Old Farms, but really successful basketball program. Plenty of Division I players have come out of there, and a great football program as well.
Tristan Taylor now. Owls still up 14. Solis to East. And Temple moving the ball around here. Tristan Taylor trying to find something. Here's Kendall Currents. Currents driving into her left, falls to the floor, and she gets fouled. So Kendall Currents will go to the free throw line for the first time today.
Yeah, Tamia Davis just didn't give her room to land after that step-back jumper.
Currents this year for the Cherry and White, just 4 of 8 from the free throw line. And now 4 of 9 on the season. .2 seconds left here in the third quarter. Currents' second shot is good. And the Owls have their biggest lead of the afternoon. It's 15. 53-38. 9-second difference from the shot clock to game clock. As we approach the end of the third quarter here at the Liacouras Center. Houston driving in, and she gets fouled. That's Deja Lawrence, the leading scorer for Charlotte. She will go to the charity stripe for the first time today. We talked about it earlier, just has been a non-factor
Yep.
in today's game for the Niners. 1 of 3 shots that she has hit from the field, just 1 assist now as well.
14 fouls combined for both teams here in the third quarter. 8 fouls for Temple, 6 for Charlotte, but it feels like this game has become a lot more prevalent with fouls.
Deja Lawrence hits both free throws. She's now at 4 points. Kendall Currents, Temple going really fast now. Well, not sure why. They just got to slow things down. Shot clock turned off, and now they do. Kendall Currents was running around from left to right on the court. And now it's Tristan Taylor holding the ball, standing right on top of the Temple tee at half court. 5 seconds left. East heaves up a 3 off the front of the rim, and it's taken away by Lawrence, and a whistle blows as she threw up a half-court shot. Was a timeout taken?
No.
Not sure why the whistle blew. There's
Must have
0.1
traveled.
seconds, and yeah, it must have been a travel as Temple will just throw the ball in, and that will wrap up the third quarter from the Liacouras Center. It's Temple 53, Charlotte 40. Welcome back into WHIP Temple women's basketball, up against Charlotte 53-40 as they try to take down the number 1 team in the conference. Charlotte 12-6 on the season, 5-1 in conference play. Temple looking to improve to what would be 10-8 as a 3-ball in the corner on the near side is good for Deja Lawrence. So last 5 points for the Niners, all scored from Lawrence, who just had 2 points before that.
Yep. And here comes Deja Lawrence.
Fourth quarter. is when it matters the most.
Absolutely.
Aaliyah Nelson with the ball. Temple up 10. Nelson just hold the ball, now gets it over to East. East gets fouled from 3-point range.
It's the second time she's been fouled today for shooting a three.
And also Tristan Taylor was fouled earlier shooting three, so Charlotte has just not done a good job of just not fouling Temple on jumpers. They had Aaliyah Nelson also got fouled earlier on the mid-range too.
That cannot happen.
Tiara East from the line today, shooting 4 of 6, and now make it 5 of 7 as she increases Temple's lead to 11. East, her second one is good as well. Tiara East now at 11 points on the afternoon, just 2 of 9 shooting from the field. So obviously, most of her points have come from the free throw line as she gets Temple's lead back to 13. Lawrence sets a screen for Smith. Smith gets it over to Lawrence at the top. Like he tried to get it down low to Rembert. It was poked away by Tucker, but it went right back to Rembert. And then Rembert goes up and gets hacked by Tucker.
Some physical basketball starting to be played here.
Yep, and that's now the
center. That's
now the 4th foul on Rain Tucker. So Diane Richardson's got a decision to make. It looks like she is going to keep in her redshirt senior. Free throw is good from Rembert.
Denise Solis looks like she's
now it looks like Richardson's going to pull her out. Temple's got also Washington and Piper in some foul trouble too. They're both at 3. Charlotte, they have Houston and Rembert each have 3 personal fouls as well. 56-45. Temple up. Nelson on the near side looking to get it down low. Piper does get it down low for Denise Solis and her first basket of the game.
Great basket there by Denise Solis to be quick with her shot, not put it on the floor, just get it up.
Charlotte, quick shot there, and it goes out of bounds, and the Owls will take over.
No ball movement on that possession there from the Owls. That was a team playing like they're down 13 with 8.5 minutes to go.
Yeah. Definitely just trying to force something up there quickly, too.
Throwing up a prayer.
Exactly. Nelson. He's done a lot of playmaking today. Even if it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, she's had a couple of passes that have led to fouls and whatnot. Tiara East in the corner 3 is airballed, but a whistle was blown before. Not sure what the call was, but the 49ers take over.
I believe Solis was out of bounds.
So a turnover from Temple. As the Niners try and claw back into this one, but Temple has really done a good job of not letting that happen. Deja Lawrence being guarded by Demi Washington. Gets a screen to her left, doesn't use it. Now kicks it over in the corner where Smith stands. Her 3-point attempt is no good, and it's out of bounds off of Tiara East.
And Charlotte, that was a much better possession as far as ball movement goes. There's been a lot of one-and-done possessions for the 49ers in this game, and that's why they've struggled so much offensively. There's just been no rhythm to their offense. It's been one pass and one shot.
They get it in for Deja Lawrence. Lawrence driving in with the right hand. She goes up and gets denied. Offensive rebound, though, picked up by Amani Smith, and she gets fouled. Good job there, though, from Temple on the defensive end. They know that Deja Lawrence is their best scorer, even if she hasn't shown it today, and they had 3 girls around her to deny it. So Imani Smith, 4 of 6 from the free throw line today. It's 4 of her 6 points.
Some use of technology on the Charlotte bench as an assistant is holding an iPad. Watching the film.
That's today's day and age, Pat.
I've never seen that in basketball.
I honestly haven't either. Yeah, you're right. And she's even showing Coach Consuegra about it, too. 56-48, Temple up. Charlotte with the basketball. Zamani Smith. Smith being guarded by Aaliyah Nelson. And a foul called away from the ball. And the foul is on Tierra East. That's her third foul. So Charlotte with 21 seconds on the shot clock, still plenty of time. Gets it in for Deja Lawrence. Lawrence tries to get it down low, but her pass is deflected away and taken away by Temple. Nelson pulls up for a three. No good, off the back of the iron. And more bodies fall to the floor. It's East along with Lawrence. See who they call the foul on. They're going to call it on TRE. So just like that, TRE East has 4 fouls, and Tristan Taylor is going to check in. She had 2 fouls 30 seconds ago.
Things starting to get kind of interesting with fouls here, Hayden. It's something to keep your eye on.
There have been a lot of fouls today, Pat. We have had a total of 51 free throws attempted today. Here is Smith. Amani Smith drops it down in for Houston. Good pass to get it inside to Rembert for the deuce. Nelson, lead at 10, under 7 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. Piper, Temple kind of slows things down, tries to get it inside to Solis. Good hustle there. That's right, by Denise Solis to make sure the ball didn't get turned over. Nelson throws it over to Washington. Washington's jumper no good. Here come the Niners. Deja Lawrence driving in, transition bucket, coast to coast. Is good, and the lead is down to single digits.
And a pretty move there by Lawrence to step into the lane.
We have seen Deja Lawrence awaken here in the fourth quarter, and it causes Diane Richardson to call a timeout. Her team hasn't scored in the last 2.5 minutes, and Deja Lawrence, who just had 2 points entering the quarter, is now at 9.
That was a really pretty move there by Deja Lawrence for that layup. And just to get into the lane, it was a step through. It was really pretty.
Yeah, you saw it coming from the moment that she got the basketball. She had her eyes on the bucket, and it's worked out thus far in the fourth quarter for Charlotte, as mentioned earlier, now at 9 points after she just had 3 field goals attempted the first 3 quarters. She already has 4 in this one, shooting 2 of 4 from the field. What does Temple have to do to kind of slow her down in this fourth quarter?
Force the ball out of her hands. She's obviously the leading scorer, but they need to force her to be the decision maker for this team. They need to force her to be the one to make these offensive decisions. She leads the team. She's second on the team, rather, in assists with 2.7 assists per game. But she needs to be the one making these passing decisions. They need to force the ball out of her hands.
And Temple in some foul trouble, too, as mentioned. Rain Tucker and Tiara East each have 4. And then Inez Piper and Demi Washington also have 3. How does that kind of factor into who Diane Richardson's going to have in play at the end of this game? So just having some headsets issue for the moment with Pat. We're going to take a break. 58-50, 6:13 left to play here in the fourth quarter. Welcome back to the Liacouras Center. 6:13 left to play here in the fourth quarter. Nelson, Taylor, Washington, Piper, and Solis. The 5 on the floor for the Owls. Lawrence, Smith, Houston, Busick, and Rembert, the 5 on the floor for Charlotte. Rain Tucker driving in, gets denied, going up with her left hand. Fight for the offensive rebound. It comes to the smallest guard on the floor, Leah Nelson. Temple has to reset, though. Now 7 seconds on the shot clock, but they get bailed out with the foul.
Referees
Called on Rembert.
not afraid to use their whistles this half.
This entire day, it feels like. The foul was actually on Houston, not Rembert. So Houston now going to check out of the game, and now she's at 4 fouls.
Yeah, I mean, the fouls have added a completely new element to this game, especially for Charlotte, who's been charging.
Nelson turns the ball over, taken away by the Niners, and some good transition defense there from Tristan Taylor to poke it out from behind.
That's excellent
of Imani
hustle.
Smith.
That is excellent hustle.
Yeah, usually you just let her go or you just foul her. You usually don't get the opportunity to just poke it out and completely reset on the defensive end.
You never really get to make a clean play on the ball, like you just said. That doesn't really happen in transition.
Porter, the trigger woman inside, and a foul is called down low.
And Kendall Currents was trying to plead her case to the official there, but her arm was almost 45 degrees on top of the person. It was not straight up. It was bent over. Her arm was right on top of the arm of the shooter. So they're going to call that 10 times out of 10. Pretty easy foul call.
Imani Smith hits the first one. This the first foul on Currents. Imani Smith's second shot is good as well. So just like that, we're at a 6-0 Charlotte run to cut it to a 6-point game. Temple has not scored in the last 3 minutes, and in that time have also had 3 turnovers.
This game's been a game of runs, and Temple had a pretty long run here for a while.
And there's another 3 from Tristan Taylor. Tristan Taylor's first 3 of the game, and the 5th 3 for Temple today. Piper went up and down, and there's a travel call. Boy, it looked like Imani Smith had Inez Piper just with nowhere to go. She had her up in the air, but for some reason dished it off.
Yeah.
To Olivia Porter, who ended up traveling.
Yeah, just a questionable decision there.
9-point lead for Temple. 5:10 left to play. Owls swinging it around. Leah Nelson at the top of the key. Gives it over to Taylor. Taylor gives it right back to Nelson. Now Nelson swings it all the way to Taylor, who's at a completely different spot on the floor. Another 3 ball. This one's off the mark.
Temple's throwing a lot of those cross-court passes.
Yeah. Here's a 3 on the close side wing, and it is good for J.C. Busick. Busick's first 3 of the game, and it cuts the lead to 6 again.
The 49ers have stormed all the way back. 6-point lead. Impressive display of wherewithal and effort from the Niners.
3-point off the mark from Kendall Currents. Tucker gets the offensive rebound, no good. Gets her own rebound and then turns it over. Charlotte now takes over. They've hit their last 3 shots. Here's Lauren. She goes up and she gets fouled by Inez Piper. And that is her 4th foul.
I'm not sure if I agree with that one at all. The defender stayed put, wasn't moving back, wasn't in an illegal position to guard whatsoever. Her arms were straight up, not into the shooting area, the allotted shooting area for the shooter. So I'm not sure I agree with that foul call whatsoever.
Diane Richardson going to trust her senior as Lawrence hits the first free throw to stay out there even with the 4 fouls. It appears, although Tiara East just checked in, just walked over to the scores table. Shot is no good, though. Piper out there with 4 fouls, and Rain Tucker is as well for Temple. Aaliyah Nelson, 4 minutes left to play. Temple up 61-56. Piper, there's 3 girls around her, gets it over to Taylor. Taylor sees Nelson wide open. She pulls the 3 ball, and it is good. Aaliyah Nelson. And now she has cracked double figures in 7 consecutive games with that 3-point ball. And then a foul on the other end. Charlotte, a lot of quick-paced transition plays here today, and there's another one that a foul gets called on.
Yeah, it almost feels like for Charlotte that their bad offense is being rewarded by playing out of their speed and how they wanted to coming into this game. It's almost being rewarded and reinforced by these fouls and how quickly the referees are blowing the whistle on both sides.
So Deja Lawrence at the free throw line. If she converts on the first one, cuts the lead to 7, 3:37 left to play. Lawrence just had 2 points coming into the quarter. She's now at a total of 11 and now make it 12.
Deja Lawrence has really impressed us both, really, in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, once we said that she wasn't doing anything, she might have heard us up here.
We called her a non-factor. She must have, yeah, she definitely heard that. That's heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy, especially coming from us, though.
Yeah.
East to Nelson. Same spot, same result. Aaliyah Nelson back-to-back threes. And brings the lead back up to 9. 3 minutes left to play here in the fourth. Lawrence, she knows that she's got something to do here. Gives it over to Busick. Busick a 3. Airballed, but a foul is called on Inez Piper, and that's going to be the last playing for Piper as she is now fouled out of this game.
Inez Piper, you can't do that. She swiped her on the elbow pretty good. That was a pretty easy call to make, and it's not like it was a late foul call. They blew that whistle pretty immediately after, but yeah. it was the right call. It was a foul.
So Busick's first free throw is good, a 96% shooter from the line on the season coming into the game. These are her third and fourth shots from there tonight, and fifth. She makes the first 2. And she makes all 3, so back to a 6-point game under 3 minutes. Aaliyah Nelson out there, Denise Solis and Jalissa Molina, 2 forwards out there for Temple. Nelson gets it over.
Oh, great find.
Denise Solis down inside. Great pass from Demi Washington. Her 3rd assist of the game, and that was a big one and a dime drop.
That was a beautiful pass. Beautiful, beautiful pass.
Houston working in on Solis, and a double dribble. Great defense there. Standout defense from Denise Solis that forces another Charlotte turnover.
And if it wasn't for these turnovers, these almost silly turnovers, these travels, double dribbles, college basketball players, this should not be happening 2, 3, 4, 5 times a game.
Now Temple takes over. 8-point lead. 2:15 left to play. Temple has hit each of their last 3 shots, and 2 of those were Aaliyah Nelson threes. Molina to Tiara East. East gets it down to Washington. Demi Washington posting, fading. All the shot falls for Demi Washington, and now Temple has hit its last 4 shots, and they've reopened up their double-digit lead. Deja Lawrence pass inside, denied by Denise Solis. Do not go in there. And she is fired up.
This Temple team playing with tons of energy thus far. Denise Solis, the biggest person on the floor by a pretty wide margin, so it's not a great idea to go inside while she's monitoring the paint.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the 6'1 center get that fired up after a play. Charlotte still with the ball. Busick heaves up a 3. No good. Fight for the rebound. It comes all the way to the 3-point marker where Lawrence picks it up, and she drills the 3.
Deja Lawrence coming alive here in the fourth quarter. Queen of the fourth?
queen of the fourth for the Queen City. As Charlotte now calls a timeout. See what they want to run up. Now down only 7 points. That was a huge offensive rebound that the Niners picked up to cut the lead to 7, where Lawrence ended up connecting on that 3. 1:29 left to play. Temple will start with the basketball underneath their own hoop. As this timeout called, what are you talking about now, Pat, if you're Diane Richardson?
Just slow down. If Charlotte will press, don't put the ball on the floor. Stay out of the corners. Stay in the middle of the floor. Operate inside the key. Operate in the middle of the floor.
So Temple out there with Washington, East, Nelson, and Taylor.
And as I said, you don't leave. Maybe I'd give you 5-6 feet outside of the key. Other than that, you stay as far away from the sideline as you can. And as soon as they inbounded it, they almost ran right to the sideline.
Yep, Charlotte in a full court press and nearly a turnover. Temple's got to get it over half court. Nelson just does in time, or maybe not. A 10-second violation. I was looking at the clock, Pat. I don't think that was 10 seconds. Diane Richardson is on the court right now yelling at the official. I think she clearly got it over in time.
That's tough because the ball was in the air as 10 seconds expired. So Is it a matter of did it cross half court or was it in possession when it crossed half court?
Regardless, it's Charlotte with the basketball, still down 7. Lawrence is fouled by Solis, and with the Niners in the bonus, that'll send their best player to the free throw line.
And with all the foul shots they've had the opportunity to score, I mean, that is how you come back in games like this. You're scoring points, well, the clock isn't moving. It's the most statistically efficient way to score.
Jalissa Molina walks over to the scores table. She's going to spell Solis. After Solis fouled Lawrence. A mismatch. Lawrence first free throw is good. Deja Lawrence has really awoken the redshirt junior here in this fourth quarter. 14 points of the quarter. She misses the second free throw, but a rebound is picked up by Charlotte. And it was Amani Smith, and she was fouled.
Now things are starting to get really, really interesting. A poor foul there after the offensive rebound. No reason to be that physical, to knock someone over, especially knowing the situation that they are in the bonus.
Yeah, and Temple's just got to do a better job of keeping possession of the basketball, and obviously they can never get it there. So Molina heads to the bench as Solis will come back in for rebounding purposes. 1:05 left to play. Charlotte down 6. And the free throw from Amani Smith is good. Temple now in a battle.
Temple needs to be careful with these box outs.
Imani Smith misses the free throw, and Deja Lawrence picks up the offensive rebound. Unbelievable. 5-point game. Houston working down low on Solis, and she gets fouled. The third foul of the possession. I have never seen anything like
shooting
that.
Foul.
The third shooting foul of the possession, and it's going to send Tracy Houston to the line.
That's lazy defense at this point. If you're taking 3 fouls in one possession, you are not ready to guard. You are not in a good position to guard. That is lazy.
And Diane Richardson trying to do anything. She keeps subbing Solis and Molina in and out, in and out. Right now it's Molina that's in there. And the first free throw is no good from Tracy Houston. That's a huge miss. 56 seconds left to play. It's going to be a long 56 seconds, though, Pat. I can tell you that. Both free throws missed. A fourth offensive rebound of the possession. A jump ball is called. And it's going to go the way of Charlotte. This is unbelievable as everyone's kind of piled up where the ball was. And now some chirping between the two teams. Imani Smith is walking away. She's trying to calm herself down. A lot of tension.
Yeah, poor efforts on the rebounds by Temple. But you got to give credit to Charlotte. Their offensive rebounding so far.
They're giving Temple a taste of their own medicine is what they're doing with these offensive rebounds here at the end.
They really are.
It's Lawrence Smith, Houston, Busick, and Rembert, the 5 on the floor for Charlotte. And now here's Lawrence going up. Layup no good. It goes out of bounds, and it's off of Deja Lawrence. And Aaliyah Nelson is pumped up about it.
Charlotte wants a replay, but that is the right call. Aaliyah Nelson nearly went and dove for it, but she realized that it hit off of Charlotte, and she let it roll out of bounds. Wise decision there.
Yeah, and the officials are going to take a look at it. We had a perfect view from where we were sitting. It didn't look like it touched Aaliyah Nelson at all. So the call on the floor should stand with Temple up by 5 still. So Charlotte, they're just missing all their free throws now at this point. But I guess in a way it also helped them get to this point because they've had all these extra possessions.
100%.
Getting the offensive rebounds. 46.1 seconds. Charlotte has attempted 40. This is crazy. They've attempted 42 free throws to Temple's 24.
They have, and Charlotte has driven a lot more than Temple has. They've shot 6 less threes than Temple, so they're spending a lot more time inside, which leads to more foul calls.
Charlotte from the line today shooting 69%, Temple shooting 75%. But it's really been Deja Lawrence just this quarter alone. For the 49ers, she has picked things up. 12 points, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc to go along with 2 offensive rebounds that have certainly helped the 49ers out over the last 9 minutes of this quarter. So the officials are telling the scorers table what to call, and I think it should stand.
Yeah. Call should be confirmed.
Yeah. So it will be Molina, Nelson, Taylor, Washington, and East. That'll be the 5 on the floor for the Owls once they get the confirmation.
Yeah, this should stand. It should stand. There hasn't been any indication on the Jumbotron or any show of the play.
Yeah,
the Jumbotron.
Not being shown anything in the arena. But it is going to be Temple's basketball. So, call on the floor stands. Temple's actually going to inbound it from their own
stack formation here for the Owls off the inbound.
Inbounding it from their own side. Washington, the trigger woman. And whistle blows was Diane Richardson is really mad at the official right now. Tiara East just went over to her to calm her down. I don't know what the call on the floor was. It could have been 5 seconds. And Diane Richardson is not happy about it because that would be the second time, in my opinion, where I don't think the timing was right. We had the 10-second violation earlier, and now a 5-second violation called on the Owls.
Yeah, that was a quick.
Diane Richardson is still walking over to the official as one of her assistants now pulls her away.
That was a quick 5.
That was very quick. I wasn't counting in my head, but it seemed really, really quick.
That was, I don't know about that. The 10-second I understand because the ball was in the air and technically wasn't in possession of Temple. But that one, I really don't know. That one, I don't know if I can get behind.
So Charlotte will take over. Temple hasn't really attempted a shot in quite some time. Just because they keep getting turnovers and Charlotte keeps getting offensive rebounds. And there's a foul called. I thought that Lawrence ran into her own teammate. But Nevertheless, it's on Tierra East, and now, Pat, she is out of this game. Her 5th foul, so Tariana Gary is going to have to check in.
This has been a nightmare scenario for Temple at the end of this game, and it was Tiara East running in to Houston.
So it's Houston at the free throw line. She makes the first one to cut the lead to 4. 43.9 seconds left. I told you what I said, 56 seconds. So we've had 13 seconds gone by, and how many minutes?
30.
And now Temple is going to call a timeout. So we'll talk to you guys even more. A 71-68 lead now for Temple. And Charlotte, in the last 46 seconds, they have gone on a 7-0 run, has Charlotte. So, Pat, last time we said in the timeout, if you're Diane Richardson, what do you have to do? You got to control the ball. Don't do anything dumb. Don't turn the ball over. They've kind of done... They kind of have done exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, it's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Like, you need to understand the game and understand where you are on the floor. You know that you're Division I basketball players. You've been playing long enough to understand that you need to stay away from the sideline, from the baseline, and the corners. Those are extra defenders, and especially in a press scenario like this, you will have two girls on you no matter what. You will have 2 defenders on you no matter what. So standing by the sideline or the baseline, it adds an extra 1 or 2. So it's essentially getting quadruple teamed. So you need to stay away from the out-of-bounds areas and stay in the middle of the floor.
So here we go. Washington, the inbound woman, gives it over to Tariana Gary. Charlotte just playing this possession out, so Temple going to milk most of the clock. If they do that, it would bring it down to about 13 seconds. 30 seconds left to go, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Tristan Taylor, the freshman. Shot clock winding down, driving in, floating it up, and getting it to go. Tristan Taylor. How about that for the true freshman out of Texas?
A big shot there by Tristan Taylor, the freshman. That took a lot of patience and pedigree for her not to force a jump shot. She waited for the screen and let the play come to her. She used her vision to find a lane to drive, and she put up a nice little floater, and it bottomed out at the bottom of the net. Great play.
Great play by the true freshman. As you said, she looked calm doing it, too. I mean, that is a huge shot.
That took poise, especially this late in the game. It was a one-score game. If she misses, Charlotte gets an opportunity to send this game in overtime.
Yeah, and now puts Temple up by 5, 18.6 seconds. And now if you're Temple, all you got to do is get a stop and then also secure that defensive rebound.
Yep, that's been an issue for them. That has really been an issue.
So Charlotte going to inbound on the far side of their half of the court. Deja Lawrence will be inbounding, so we got to watch out for her. She leads all scorers today with 16 points, 12 of them being in this fourth quarter. Lawrence gets it in for Porter. Porter to the corner where Busick is. She heaves up a 3. It's short. Rebound goes out of bounds. I think she threw it off of Temple, right?
Yep. It went right through the hands of the Temple players, and it hit right off of her hands. And it is Charlotte basketball.
So Amani Smith was just running to try and get the ball, but she was obviously taking herself out of bounds, so she just threw it and went off of a Temple player and out of bounds. 11.2 seconds left to play. Here is Lawrence. Lawrence, step back 3, no good. Temple gets the rebound, and that should wrap things up. A foul is called as Aaliyah Nelson is clapping her hands. Just less than 3 seconds left to play. Nelson giving everyone a little quiet finger.
Timeout.
And a timeout taken by Temple. Up by 5 points, so I guess they called a timeout. no foul. All right, a foul was called, so Temple just not in the bonus. So all they got to do is secure an inbound. Hopefully, it doesn't take 5 seconds, and that should do it.
Yep. And Temple not in the bonus. They're just going to draw something up here.
Leah Nelson with 14 points tonight. Her 7th consecutive game scoring in double figures. To go along with 3 assists.
The smart play here was just to get it in and throw it up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no time to do anything. Tristan Taylor gets the inbounds pass, and that will wrap things up here from the Liacouras Center. The Owls take down the top team in the American Athletic Conference to improve to 10-8 on the season, 4-2 in conference play, with a 73-68 victory over Charlotte. Pat, it wasn't easy, though. They were up by 15 in this second half, and they had to get a shot at the end that was huge by Tristan Taylor with less than 20 seconds left to go to put the game out of reach.
Yeah, Deja Lawrence really came alive, and that's all it was, really, for this Charlotte team. They started to get the whistle. They started to drive because they understood that the referees were a lot more lenient with the whistle for both teams, and they really understood that playing inside would get them back into this game. But excellent, guts by Temple to not be fazed by the officials and to not, crumble coming down the stretch and to keep their heads in the game and get a big stop towards the end.
Yeah, Deja Lawrence, she was a big reason why Charlotte was 5-1 in conference play coming into this affair. And we talked about her just being a non-factor when she had just 4 points at the end of the third quarter. But she really did pick it up with 12 points in that fourth quarter. She led all scorers with 16. And 6 of those were from the charity stripe as well. But nevertheless, the Owls were able to defend her just enough to secure a 73-68 win in conference play. They improved to 4-2 in the conference as Charlotte falls to 12-7 overall. And in conference, they are now 5-2. That is going to wrap things up here from the Liacouras Center. Temple gets the home victory, 73-68 over Charlotte. For my partner, Pat Dallahan, our producer, Ryan Lightning, thanks for watching and tuning in to Temple Women's Basketball on WHIP. Have a great night, everyone.